IT manager leaves business and does his own right to be forgotten. Edit and disclaimer, I am not the person in this story. I am repeating from memory what was told to me by my friend who is the subject or Steve of the story. I may not have the timings right. What was exactly said, please understand I was told this some time ago. Also, I'm not an expert of what he did or whether it's right or wrong. Again, I am repeating from memory. Finally, please don't PM me having a go about it being fake or what mistakes I've made. I'll just block you. Back to the post.
First off, I'm on a phone, so please excuse bad grammar and missed autocorrections. Second off, this isn't about me but a friend who I've known for years. Third, this is in the UK where we have a legal right and process in which we can force a company or entity to remove anything related to us. It's called GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations, and RTBF, Right to be Forgotten. Admins, I'm going to use RTBF instead of writing the whole thing out once or twice. Please be nice. So into the story. My friend, we shall call Steve, worked for a company for over 10 years as their IT manager, in charge of the whole system. He had worked his way up from lowly desktop support right to the very top. He was also very into doing everything by the book and within the law. No underhanded shenanigans. The company had recently gone public, shares listed on the stock exchange, and as such needed a director of IT. Steve applied and was pretty much a shoo-in until he was told the new CEO, the original owner who was pretty much forced to go public by the other two shareholders, had taken his shares and sold them and moved on, had overruled HR and hired someone else. Spoiler, nepotism. And he shrugged and said, well, at least they will take away most of my paperwork, allowing me to do more work. Oh, how wrong he was. When the new IT director arrived, let's call him Tom, arrived, he basically kicked Steve out of his office and into a desk in the main office and did nothing except piss about. Steve found out it was the CEO's nephew who he doted on. Fast forward 3 months and Steve is pretty much burned out. The nephew had fired his two very capable assistants and replaced them with buddies who did nothing, leaving Steve to look after around 400 PCs plus associated servers and network equipment all by himself. He was getting fed up. All the while the Tom kept ordering him to do weird things like reinstall Windows all on PCs or order him a gaming rig for the office. In one case, go to his house to set up a home network. The final straw came when Tom had got the CEO to cancel Steve's bonus for not meeting all requests made of him. Meanwhile, he buddies Dick and Harry got massive bonuses and rewards for their hard work picking up the slack. Steve decided at this point to start looking for a new role. It just so happened he had kept in touch with the old owner who had started a new business and, after hearing of his woes, had offered him a new job at his much smaller company of the same wage. It was also a much shorter commute and he got a whole new office and nice set of benefits. Steve, of course, took the offer up but also decided to plot his revenge. Steve handed in his 3-month notice to the HR department and began his leaving process, sending emails to the Tom detailing all passwords and processes plus introducing him to suppliers and whatnot. He also put on the Exchange server a scheduled task to run a batch file 1 week after he left. He also had one of these on the AD server and file storage servers and the backup storage servers. What this batch file did was open PowerShell and run commands to delete anything he was the author of, if a file or was last saved by him, and also to delete any emails sent to him or by him. He also told Microsoft he was leaving this company and moving on to a new company on the specified date. More on this later. Steve dutifully carried out his final tasks, said goodbye, and as he last act a week before he left, He gave HR a typed-up letter stating his wish to invoke the GDPR-RTBF regulations, and he wants all paperwork he created deleted and the only information left for legal purposes and HR reasons, i.e. payslips etc. On his final day he signed out, handed his laptop in, and left graciously, even buying people drinks that evening at the local pub near the company. He was told by HR his request was completed the following week, but they had to retain certain info, HR docs and payslips for tax reasons, which was fine. Fast forward 2 months. His old CEO rings him up in a panic as things are falling apart. Updates haven't been happening. He can't find any details for suppliers or how to do certain roles. He also had a huge bill from finance as all their licensing costs have gone through the roof. New staff kit is all wrong. Steve kindly explains that he was fed up with Tom doing nothing and hiring his buddies, Dick and Harry, who also did nothing, or worse, made rookie mistakes he was left to fix. He also explained how the cheap license costs were because as Steve had a lot of qualifications from Microsoft, he got discounts on products. Now he has left, they can't receive them as he is using that privilege at his new place. He also explained the RTBF, right to be forgotten, request, saying it director had 3 months to save the info he emailed before it was deleted. CEO then begged him to allow access to the discounts, but Steve said no. He doesn't do stuff like that. Perhaps he should get Tom, Dick and Harry trained up? He also said maybe instead of hiring your nephew to do a director's role, maybe he should have been hired at the bottom to work his way up, not fail his way down. Steve hung up and has asked kindly not to be contacted again via email through HR. The new job is going great and Steve is enjoying it a lot. From what I hear. Lesson of the story: don't commit nepotism or hire buddies and expect good results. FYI, names have been changed to protect identities. I also don't know the name of the CEO, so I'm leaving his name as such. Edit. As someone pointed out, Steve didn't use the GDPR RTBF request in the right way. I don't personally know much about it, so couldn't comment. But it was a means to an end.
The right to be forgotten only extends to personal data. It's not a right to demand the deletion of all work product created during office hours, which would become the IP of the company, under most contracts. So I think what he did was effectively sabotage the business using a simple virus, rather than use any legal technicalities or loopholes, but I think he got away with it and I don't think it's necessarily illegal, so a good pro-revenge.
There are many mistakes on this story. First, RTBF doesn't apply to intellectual property he produced. So he had no right to delete the files. The most he could do was delete his name from the files. Second, the discounts Microsoft provide don't allow the softwares to be used in production environment. If he was using softwares he got for personal use in a production environment, it was illegal from the beginning. Finally, no way a software license problem would appear only 2 months after he left. That's not how license is controlled, and the details of advised Microsoft he was leaving is way less personal than the text makes it appear and doesn't trigger licensing problems so fast. This should be shared with anyone that says, my nephew can do it for less.
So satisfying. Thanks for the story.
GDPR RTBF does not cover work he did for the company simply because he has his name on them. They have the right to keep emails that are business related. The rest sounds about right. Don't understand why 3 months notice? Seems awfully long for going to a new job, especially if the current job is hated. I gave my place 6 months notice before I retired, but I worked for the government and it takes time to process the paperwork correctly. plus I got out from being assigned long-term projects. So owner of a company goes public. Starts a new business and hires his nephew as CEO replacement. Your buddy then quits. Starts working for his current CEO's uncle. And runs the company his new employer previously owned into the ground where his nephew was in charge? And that didn't affect his new working atmosphere? Did the whole town clap when they all found out? Edit. Co-owner of company sold shares and left to start new company. Other owner replaced that guy with his nephew. Learnings. Steve is a douche and should be sued for millions for illegally and maliciously deleting intangible corporate assets. The CEO is also a douche and his nephew is a toy. The author of this thread is maybe not a douche but should definitely attend a course on GDPR too. Get definitions right, as none of this is about GDPR or the right to be forgotten. Finally, any decently managed company would be able to recover anything deleted by the manager script, as everything of value should be backed up and vaulted for long-term recovery.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.